I didn't know when you up to bed, Jack. Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Smith. I want to thank you for calling my name. No, hey, good. Everybody, kind of free flow Thursday. Phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. I had the chance to go over to Gingler Park last night, and that love,
Peace.
and
So,
man, y'all rocked it last night.
well, we we don't compare it to Soul Serious or anything like that, but we were there.
Man, listen, man, y'all been stumping mud holes for years, man. So
Yeah, I like that kind of talk.
yeah, man, y'all been putting in work, man. So
Yeah, good crowd.
Yeah,
Really good
it was,
crowd
it
there
was.
last night.
I noticed a lot more vendors this year. Is that something that they've made a concerted effort to do?
Yeah, I was over by the hot dog guy.
Did you get you a dog?
No, man. I was eating a little healthier, so.
Well, my thing is I saw barbecue. I saw.
Rib tip.
I mean, I
Right,
just had that stuff for the holiday, so it wasn't something that was like jumping out at me.
but what about those that didn't have it for the holiday?
Right. I mean, and then it was there for them. It certainly.
I mean, though, you shouldn't have been eating anyway because you was on stage or you singing. Though you
Well,
can't
no. I mean, I
sing
do
with
come
meat.
off. We did take a break.
Yeah, but you can't sing with meat and sausage and sauce in your throat.
Plus,
man.
I had on all white. I wasn't really trying to eat no barbecue.
Oh yeah, like you'd have been sprinkled with sauce.
Yeah, but a great turnout. Thanks to Ascensions at St. Joe's and Shakina and all the fine folks over there for having us on yesterday. Certainly enjoyed it. Had graced the stage by Star Red. She came out on yesterday.
Yes, she did.
And of course, Jarvis Red, he was there as well. He did a little country for us. So it was just a great time, man. Great time.
You know what, man? I wrote me a country song, man.
You want to hear it?
Here it go.
Here it goes.
La 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 la. La la la. Okay, there we go.
That's the one.
Nope. My cow, she won't eat. I think she's sick. It hurts me to see she's afflicted. My cow, she won't eat. That's all I got so far.
Okay. You got a long way.
Yeah, Doc, I got a skinny cow, man. She won't eat.
Yeah.
I think she's sick.
And you think she's afflicted.
I think she's afflicted.
Keith.
Look at that cow.
My cow won't eat.
Look at that cow.
Why did the cow become the subject of the song?
Well, Brother Deacon, chairman of 3 out of the 6 boards, the cow became the subject because I looked over the pasture and saw this one skinny cow that seemed afflicted. So I thought I'll call in the Baptist preacher to pray for the sick and the afflicted, or as they say, the sick and shut in.
Well, how long did it take Keith to get there?
Well, Keith never showed.
I'm telling you, man, I'm a Baptist.
He said he called in the Baptist preacher.
He never showed. That's because he was out there with you guys yesterday, man.
So you just wrote this song yesterday?
Yeah, man. As I stood and looked over the green pastures and saw my afflicted cow, it hit my spirit. My cow, she won't eat.
Say she won't, huh?
No, she won't. I think she's sick.
I don't know how my program got dedicated
to the sick cow.
To the sick cow.
And the sick
as long as he's not doing Elvis, I'm okay. Y'all tune in and you hear Elvis.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
For Christmas when you hear Elvis.
It's been one.
It's been one, man. It is.
Yeah, that was our plight down the road, man. When when the meeting was over and we came out, they were playing Elvis with drops. 1290, home of Elvis Radio.
Hey,
like,
as
what?
they stood in the door and held the door open for all y'all.
Yeah, so you got 10 minutes to get your personal effects. Don't take anything that belongs to the station and hit the door. And they had our servants' packages already ready for us.
I was like, don't look back or you're going to turn into a pillar of salt. Huh?
That's it. That's it.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you?
I'm fine in community. But hey, tell him his country song, tell Debo stick to playing the blues like he did last weekend. Bravo.
That wasn't me singing that song. That was Jermaine singing that song.
No, I ain't telling you about. I knew that wasn't you singing. I said you keep playing the blues because with Donald Trump putting on us with his new bill,
what is that?
Hey, we all gonna be singing the blues.
Oh, yeah,
but you know, we're gonna survive anyway. We ain't gonna be jumping out no windows.
Yeah.
Or committing suicide or shooting up people.
Ooh, I don't know.
The ones with sense.
I don't know. I don't know.
But hey, it's just the beginning. Man. But it's like, hey,
what grocery store did you steal out of?
No.
You never stole out of the grocery store. Nothing. Corner store.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to say about none of that. And no.
Well, that's right. Your daddy was really strict.
Very. My daddy wasn't around. My mom was really strict. And then I had some strict uncles. Because you rather get mama whooping than them uncles whooping. Because daddy, he was a Rolling Stone. So, and I'm glad my mama raised him when I looked at when he finally settled down on what he had. Because, hey, I did like just like Keith came up. Hey, but I got me a job. I know how to be self-efficient. So I started young, paper route, 16. Hey, at Parkman, I told my teacher I need a job. I was student council president. I got hired at Outlaw Shoes as a stock boy. Ended up being a salesman. From there, I went to Sears on North Avenue. From there, Briggs Stratton. So, hey, I worked and then American TV and whatever after that.
I'm talking about as a kid, man. I wasn't saying you was a.
Oh, as a kid? No.
You were
hey, in our days, you got something like that. You ain't want no extension cord or no switch.
Extension cord.
Yeah, Doctor.
Hey, and I had grown up with 4 other brothers too. Hey, I know the deal. I know how to be good after over here. You reach some conversation. You won't say that, but
let me credit Elizabeth Reed for introducing my mama to the extension cord. Yeah.
You don't want that.
No, well, I didn't, but we got it.
Yep.
I mean, and you know, today.
But wait a minute now. What?
We talking.
You mean the belt wasn't good enough?
Man, listen, it was whatever they can get their hands on.
That's rubber, man.
My mother, especially for the boys, man. When we got to a certain age, she had to handle that, and it was. Oh man, the stories I can tell you about the extension cord. I didn't even know you used them to plug up stuff in the wall.
For real, when you were young, you was like, "Oh, that was that for."
Say, "Oh, that's what they use it for."
And I said it before. How many of y'all knew rulers were used for measurement?
You got it on your own.
Yeah, I thought it
plugged up one. You gave you second thoughts, didn't it?
Yeah, man. I had no clue.
Man, I had Miss Ely and Miss Harvey. Those two, she had like 4 rulers she taped together with that masking tape.
Yeah.
And she would bend your hand back and she hit you right there in that hand, man, right on the inner knuckle of your hand, man. You talking about, and then and you can go tell your mammy.
Dude, Bradley Carr was my fifth grade teacher.
Though. Miss Carter would tear your butt up. Tracy Carter back in the day in Lloyd's school.
Mm-hmm.
She take you in the coat room. You got your butt for it.
And you didn't go home and tell your mama because you didn't want your mama to get on that behind.
I did go home and tell my mama one time.
You know,
you made the mistake of doing that, Keith.
Come there, who in there laughing? Because everybody gets caught.
Steve, you were at Parkman, right?
I went to Parkman.
Okay, you remember Mr. Brown, William Brown?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I tell the story. You're not supposed to be in the hall. That's one thing. You at Parkman, when nobody in the hallways, when nobody in the bathroom during class time, right?
That's right.
Right.
So I'd ask to go to the bathroom. Dudes in there shooting dice in the bathroom. I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching. I don't shoot dice. Still don't shoot dice. And I'm watching them. So when Mr. Brown came in the bathroom, even the Pimpish brothers picked up their stuff and left. Not me. I'm gonna talk crazy. So I don't know what that exchange was in the bathroom, and I don't even know how I got by him to get back to my classroom. Miss Gist was my 8th grade teacher. So I walk in, and the only seat that's open is over against the wall. And y'all remember those desks? They're all built in one.
Yeah.
So Mr. Brown never raised his voice. That was the interesting thing about Mr. Brown. Never raised his voice. So he comes in. He calmly says to Miss Gist, he said, I need to see that young man over there. And Miss Gist said, Keith, you need to go with Mr. Brown. Not in front of those other 38th graders. Mm-hmm. I said, fatal last words. If Mr. Brown want me, Mr. Brown come get me.
Mr. Brown came.
Mr. Brown came, got me. Disengage me from that.
Disengage.
Yeah, it sounds like in one swing.
Right, man. I'm down these stairs, man, in Parkman, and I look like a stunt man in a movie.
Really?
To the office.
I had one of them walls, and then you get in mid section of those stairs, you got slammed against that wall.
Right. So I get down the stairs, and we get to, I think is Mr. Belcher or Mr. Hughes. Either one of those.
Probably Belcher.
I get a 72. Now let me tell you about me in 72s. 72s have never gotten home. Ever. I got so good at forging my mama's signature. 72s never got home. Yeah. This 72 got home. Because you don't put your hands on me. Now, I don't know how y'all are when your mama used to come to school. You be 13 steps behind because you didn't want nobody to know that was your mama.
Right.
That day.
I was with her.
That day. Oh, man, we was walking. I'm walking with the big dog. Nigga putting his hands on me. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
My mama coming up here now.
Yeah, my mama up here. So we go to George Hughes. So we're in the office. Mr. Hughes, that famous with his pipe son. So tell us what happened. Mr. Brown was there. My mama was there. And Mr. Brown tells the story, never raised his voice. Said, I asked the young man to come. Hey, tell him you called me a punk. And he never raised his voice. I called him a punk. And my mom over there sucking her teeth and rolling her eyes. I'm like, nigga, you get him, dude. That means she mad, dude.
Yeah.
So so he got finished. And they asked me, I don't know, mama get ready to handle this. My mother, and this is a direct quote. My mama said, man, let me tell you something, talking to Mr. Brown. And I'm going like, she get ready, because I done heard my mama cussing.
Oh, she finna give it
she
to him.
Give it to her, boy. She said, man, let me tell you something. If he do it again, I want you to do the same thing. I'm like, you could have stayed at home. Yeah. You ain't helping me.
You just made it worse.
Now, as life progresses, there's a place right up there used to call Low Drugs. It's like a triangle. It's still
I remember
there.
that. Yeah, it's called Post Foods or something like that.
Right,
After
and
Low.
that's where Keith and Port Washington and Atkinson. So they call it Triangle Drugs. I don't know what it was. Was it Low? It was Low Drugs.
Right.
Mr. Brown worked there part time. My sophomore year in college, no, it would have been my freshman year. I come in the store. He look at me. Young man, how you doing?
I'd have turned him upside down.
I'm looking at him like, yeah, I'm doing all right. Now I'm sitting up here thinking, thank you, Mr. Brown. That's why I'm a freshman in college right now, because you caught me. Because as a 13-year-old without a man in the house, and you're a male, right? You gotta have some male who's bigger, older, stronger, mature to put you in your place.
Right.
And man, he put me in my place. And so I always credit Mr. Brown as one of the reasons why I ended up in college, because that corrective action that he took. Now, today, it's a little bit different. You can't put hands on students.
Why not?
I mean, we can't.
Well, why not?
You just can't. And because I saw there was the other dude, I don't know why he wanted to mess with Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington was like 290. Washington used to play football, man. Mr. Washington, now y'all talking about quiet. That man never said anything, but nobody was clowning his classroom. So he was telling dudes the lunch hour. Tell dude, man, you need to go. You need to go out. No. And this dude weighed maybe about 107 pounds with all his clothes on. He talking crazy to Mr. Brown. And so, not Mr. Brown, Mr. Washington, because his nickname was Sugar Bear. And the nicknames they had for teachers, his name was Sugar Bear. So he said something, and dude just talking. I ain't going to call his name because dude probably still alive. So Mr. Brown picked him up.
Mr. Washington,
thank you. Picked him up, put him out. You know that door that goes out to the playground on Parkland?
On the back end.
In the back end. Yeah. Put him out there. They let him back in, and his boy give him a broomstick.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Brown took the broomstick from
Mr. Washington,
and wore him out with the broomstick. So next day, old boy come to school with his mama. He got a neck brace on.
Got beat down.
It wasn't that bad. Wow. It wasn't that bad. Mr. Brown could have did some real damage.
Mr. Washington.
Mr. Washington, thank you, D.
It's gonna be a long day.
Right, because that wasn't my beat. That's why I keep doing Mr. Brown.
You know who beat you.
Yeah, I know who beat me. I got some names. Mr. Carr, Mr. Brown. I got all
Willie Giles.
I didn't have Mr.
Giles. He was a student.
No. And then I had at Oliver Window Homes, I had Mr. Carr. I thought my life had gotten better. No, I got Miss Bell. Oh, my God. She was another one. You know, you have some teachers, man.
Miss Ely, I'm telling you, Miss Ely, she had a sister. I went to the old 21st Street School. Yeah. Okay. She ended up at our after they tore down the old 21st Street School. There was a dude there named Mr. Jones, a teacher, and he had this kit car that he had built. So he was very likable. There was Mr. Lockhart. The old man would take off his belt and wear your behind out. So when we moved, I subsequently ended up going to Our Avenue. Well, guess who moved to Our Avenue? Miss Ely. Here she come. Now, that ain't bad enough. She got a sister, and they both crazy. But I can tell you that when my children began to attend Our Avenue, we had a special relationship. They understood that I didn't care. If Miss Ely said that you did that, you did it. And she gonna handle it. Don't come telling me, because if you do, I'm gonna come up there and watch her whip your behind. Because she had to whip mine. So no, I'm not gonna defend you and all of that, because she's all she ever wanted was what was best for us. And I knew that as I got older, I understood it better. You know, when you look at a school like Our Avenue, they sent me to the PAC to study acting. I studied Shakespeare. A lot of things that you'll never see happen in these school systems again. They're the reason I ended up in Wauwatosa, which was a whole different experience. But it certainly let me know that, you know, black school, black teachers, all of that was great for me. But when they sent me to Wauwatosa, I couldn't make it out there. You know, they bring me in on this little yellow bus and take me to the back of the building. That's how we entered. You know, Jermaine can attest to it. I mean, he went to the same school.
I got kicked out, but yeah.
What my experience? Anyway, and we have
Dominican.
Hey man, look.
He happens to have on his shirt today. Yeah, alumni.
Let's go. Green and black. Green and black.
You should have wore your what? What do you want, Douglas?
We were talking, me and my godson was talking, and I was telling them one of the regrets I had was I never got a Letterman's jacket. I had my letters, and I never got a jacket. And he was telling me that, and I didn't realize, I guess he did, even when he was at Wisconsin Lutheran, that they had Letterman's jackets.
Yeah, I think you can order them.
Yeah. And Dominican, once I got out, the cold ones they had for the girls, they had a hood that would zip, and it was black. And oh my God! So, caller, welcome to the program. I had some teachers, and it's interesting. Debo talk about how they got him down at the PAC, you know, to study acting. I had a teacher, Mr. Sharp, when I was at Victor Berger, my 6th grade year, and he introduced us. Man, we sang so many show tunes. That guy had us singing show tunes. And then they had, and I don't know if it was still around when you come along, the biannual music festival. That's that all citywide music festival. Yeah. And I was crushing on this young lady. So anything she got into, I tried to get into. And so she was part of it. She played, you remember those little things? It's not like those little xylophone little things. I don't know what they call them. Yeah. So she was doing that. I had no instrument that I played. So I ended up singing. And man, fell in love with that, fell in love with singing because I'd always loved music. And I can tell you what we did. And I had no clue until later in life what we performed that year. We performed, oh man, it wasn't Mary Poppins. It was the thing with oh man, I'll have to pull it up now. With the families. Oh God, I'll pull it up. Anyway, caller, as I pull it up. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Parris.
Good morning.
This is Rick from Germany.
Sound of music. Good morning, Rick.
I'm not going to sanction child abuse of any kind, whether it be from your parent or it be from a school teacher or administrator. But I will say this. My mother, who was meek and mild-mannered after leaving the U.S. military and struggling with physical sickness, tuberculosis of the bone, brain, and spine, my mother was well within her rights to take her hand and give me all 5 upside my head, face, and jaw when I was a young man. And that's all I'll say about that. I'm done, fellas.
I appreciate you. Yeah, that's something my mom never did. She never really fired on us. Like there's some people, whatever they had, they would use, people got hit with spoons and pots and
cable boxes.
Precious mama threw a TV at her. But that wasn't the case. My mother had this thing where she would say to us, I'm not going to discipline you. I'm not going to whoop you now because I'll kill you because I'm mad.
I'm mad, yeah.
And so, a little rule of thumb is that you probably don't want to discipline your children when you're angry, because you're going to do some things that will have more damage than you intended. What you want to do is get the child, obviously, to understand the consequences of their behavior, right, and not to do it again. Yeah. And so how do you do that? And there have been people out there, especially when they talk about how we discipline as descendants of enslaved Africans, where they say a lot of it goes back to enslavement, that's how you reinforced certain behavior. You did it through pain. Like I was telling Brenda and Nancy, one of the reasons why I don't think I'm real good with numbers is how I learned how to count, because my mother used negative reinforcement, i.e. if I got it wrong, she hit me in my hand. Right. And she said, I bet you can count these licks, so in her mind, that's going to teach me math. She didn't teach me reading that way. So it was how we do it, how we discipline our children. A lot of times we say things, we do things in anger. But, if you're taking a parenting course now, they will tell you that, if, at all costs, disengage for a moment, de-escalate for a moment, and then focus in on the behavior that you want to see modified. Now, that's the theory. The reality could be something very different.
Now, do you think that with how things are going now with the young people and no structure and them being all over the place, that it's a lack of discipline and it's a lack of what we was able to get, even though some of us did stray away, but we still had that knowledge of, hey, this ain't right?
Yeah, but I mean, you always have a basic, because they're teaching you right and wrong. I think the thing is, look, when I wasn't around my mama or anybody that could talk to my mama, I had a certain behavior.
Of course.
We buck wild.
Wow, yeah.
When I got into the company of adults, it was a little bit different in terms of my behavior. Certainly wasn't disrespectful. And I think that story I told about Mr. Brown, your teacher was right. because when she teacher sent a note home, and my mama said, "Why would she need to lie on you?" Well, here's one of the things: your mama know you,
That part.
So part of that, and I think with the exception of one teacher, when they said what they said concerning my behavior, it was on point.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I know for me, at Greenfield High School, my freshman year, it was I had this teacher named Miss Reagan, and she told me something. Now I don't know if she was doing reverse psychology or if she was really saying how she felt. But she looked at me and told me, "You're not going to be nothing, and you're not going to graduate." And when she said that to me, that um, actually lit a fire under me because I said to myself, "Hold on, I'm gonna prove you wrong." Now that could have did something else to me. Now I don't know if she was using the
You know how many
reverse
students
role.
that's been told to?
Yeah. So I don't know if she was using the reverse role to.
Some of them teachers was right on point.
Well. No. See. But this is the thing, though.
I'm serious.
No.
I
Seriously.
didn't say it to be funny.
No. Seriously. And I do
No, I'm
understand
laughing
what
at
you're
the
saying.
irony of what you said. I'm
But
agreeing.
but it could have been that after those teachers spoke that, the people who they spoke it to, they started to believe that and then activated that. So you got to be careful what you say because in my situation, again, I could have took that and
But I'm a firm
and
believer.
took it to heart, but I took it as, you know what, I'm gonna show you that I'm smarter than how I'm acting.
I'm a firm believer that you to me you just can't speak things into my existence.
Right.
Either it's in me
No.
or it's not.
No. You can speak it.
I said I'm a firm believer. You believe how you believe. I don't believe that you can tell me I ain't gonna be nothing and I end up not
Well,
being nothing.
if you receive that, you will end up not.
Well, and I think both of you are right. I think it really depends on the child and how the child.
Yeah.
But look, man, we were saying that again, the Be Healthy Be You folks. We need to talk about childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And how we carry a lot of that even into our adulthood. I'm talking about maturity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it is important what you say in terms of positive affirmation for a child. Those kind of things, I think they go a long way.
I believe it as a motivational piece, but I believe if self motivation.
See, but that can kill your self motivation because I mean, look
Well,
at these players. Oh yeah, let's do that.
Hey, look, the phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. And we just really talk about the impact that we experience. The impact we get on the couch. We'll be right back.
106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to Community Voice. And again, the phone line's open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. And really the question is, how should we discipline our children? Should we whoop our kids? But something just came across the wire. We're just watching it here as we're watching the local news. And I think they're introducing a law in Madison that's going to prevent outdoor balloon release. And I didn't go to Fox 6. But that's what we're seeing is a lot of times, and I've been to a couple myself, where we release the balloons, in tribute to someone. I know we did a balloon release for Kia, and and so the issue is, all right, and I'm just pulling this up from Fox 6, says Wisconsin state lawmakers want to regulate the amount of Mylar balloons released outdoors. Democratic lawmakers have sponsored the bill. There won't be any decision on it until they return in the fall for the session. So here's what we know. Wisconsin state lawmakers want to regulate the amount of Mylar balloons people release outdoors. Right now in Wisconsin, Democratic lawmakers have sponsored the bill. Several other states, including California and Florida, have passed similar bills with bipartisan support. It has since been referred to the Assembly Committee on Environment, but has gotten some mixed opinions. Senator Tim Carpenter, a Democrat of Milwaukee, is among the group of lawmakers sponsoring the bill. The same citation as littering. The hope is not to get animals tangled up in plastic and Mylar, Carpenter said. Energy said since 2020, more than 120,000 customers lost power because of outages caused by Mylar balloons hitting power lines. They hit power lines and can cause power outages. State Senator Chris Larson, Democrat of Milwaukee, said, obviously, we recognize that there are a number of reasons people do this, and it's not malicious. Local perspective. Across the state, balloon release have become a staple of mourning and remembering. Fox News ran into a woman on her way to one. I'm actually on my way to pick up a friend that had called me, Willette Sims said. She has a young lady that's the daughter of a friend that she had that she used to babysit for, and she was actually shot and killed. Sim was not necessarily in favor of the bill. People should be able to express their feelings on what has happened and feel a sense of release, she said. What's next? There won't be any decision on this until lawmakers return for their session in the fall. So I'm curious, what do you think? 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Again, this year I've been to 2 balloon releases. But I never thought about the environmental impact it has. And obviously, if it gets entangled in power lines and then people lose power, and then it's litter, right? Because at some point when those balloons deflate, it's going to be litter. I think the fine they're looking at is $500 for people who are doing it. So I'm just curious what you think. 414-444-5250.
Well, Keith, to be honest with you, all of the balloons released that I've been to, I've never seen people release them by power lines.
But they're going to float to a power line. That's the point they're making. Once they get picked up in the breeze.
But once it go all,
it's not saying right there. It could go, and then when it deflates, it could fall on a power line. We did something. I know for Vacation Bible School at Metropolitan, we would have the balloons, and I think they would have like Bible, like scriptures in it.
Okay. And
then they would release them with the name of the church. And I think that those balloons have traveled as far as Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, but at some point when they deflate, where does that balloon go?
Well, I mean, that's true, but if you look at the reality of it, like even if you release 200-300 balloons in the air, it's going to go everywhere. It's going to, spread. That's how wide it's going to go. I think the ones that deflate and come down, um, like I still haven't seen, and I'm sure we are not the only city that are doing balloon releases. So even in our neighboring cities like Chicago and Michigan and Minnesota, I'm sure they do balloon releases. I have yet to see one deflate and just drop down. Just like I have yet to see that.
Well, it's like why you can't use rice now at a wedding.
Really?
Yeah. Well, what happens is, let me pull it up just to be accurate. At weddings, oh, okay, they said that's a myth. Okay, I back up. Okay, show more. They said that is it true that throwing rice at weddings is bad for the birds? The widely believed myth that uncooked rice expands in the bird's stomach and causes it harm is false. Birds can safely eat rice, and they often do. Um, do it in natural environments. So, okay. Wow. I always thought that there was a this thing where it would expand in their stomach because of the fluids in their stomach. Um, let's see. You may have heard that throwing rice at weddings will hurt wild birds, but we're here to say that that myth isn't backed up by science, and we can prove it chemically. Okay. Hey, look at that. See, all those. I always thought that that's why they stopped doing rice at weddings. So you know what? Here's the greater question: why do we throw rice in the first place? Let's say why?
Yeah, I never understood that.
Why do we throw?
Yeah, where did that come from? Because
rice at weddings. Here we go. Throwing rice at weddings is a long-standing tradition, symbolizing prosperity, fertility, and good luck for newly married couples. The practice is noted in ancient customs where grains like wheat and barley were thrown to invoke blessings for a fruitful union and abundant offspring. In some cultures, it's seen as a way to ward off evil spirits. The ancient origins, the tradition throwing rice at weddings dates back to ancient times with the Romans using wheat and barley. Again, modern practice, while rice is common choice, some cultures use other things like flower petals, confetti, or even bubbles. There's a myth that rice expands, and we just talked about that. And then they said couples may opt for eco-friendly alternatives like bird seeds or bubbles. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
What you were talking about throwing the rice at wedding stuff. Now, I've always heard that it was it is a European tradition, and that the best man and his the guys that be in the wedding. After the wedding, the guy would get those guys would go and break your new wife in.
Whoa. Say that again.
No, I said that I've always heard that that started with the best man and
Right.
the guys in the wedding,
Right.
that they would that was a symbol for them after the wedding. They would take your new wedded wife and they would break her in before you got her.
Oh, pulling power.
Yes, sir.
What culture is this?
I don't know, but it started in Europe. So that's where that throwing rice. So if you get married, be careful how you throw that rice.
Hey, man, I'm throwing oatmeal at mine, man.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I'm throwing oatmeal.
You guys have a good day.
You too.
Wow, I've never heard that one. So that explains why everybody's
go out on the limb.
Jesse's girl.
I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. Is it 10 o'clock yet?
Oh man,
wait a minute.
That I've never heard that one
Me either.
in my life.
And I think our lived experience is a lot of wives are pretty broken in.
Hey, Doc, I'm trying to tell you, I seen a lot of rice. I done played for a lot of weddings. And they should have put me up on that thing before I played. I would have been the best man. You mean to tell me?
That's what that was for.
Man, all these
I
times.
didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. So hey,
I
let's
don't
where
know.
not go
That's
to.
probably a myth. I'm just thinking because you know, the value that was put on virginity in ancient cultures, and so you know the idea that they're gonna bring them in before you.
Be like,
You know, as a matter of fact, one of the reasons for annulment is that you didn't consummate the
Before the
relationship,
marriage.
right? And that gets back to Catholic theology around marriage, that marriage is for children. That's why you get married. But now, you know, we live in a modern world now where obviously people are choosing, like me and my wife, you choose not to have children.
Yeah.
You know, wow, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
hey, Debo, did you hear that what the young man just said?
But you know what? It makes sense based
What
on
young
your
man?
experience.
There you go. Rabbit hole.
What did he say?
Wait.
He said that the tradition of throwing rice was like your best man and groomsman.
Uh-huh.
You would break in the
Wife before the husband.
before the husband did.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the same thing I
Yeah,
said.
that's the same
So
reason we-
the tradition with throwing rice is the reason why they throw the rice is because the best man and all of his guys
Mhm.
get a chance to break in the groom's wife before the groom.
And where was this a tradition at?
Doc, I've been trying to find it out because I was just saying I've been at plenty weddings and I've seen a whole lot of rice, and then one Uncle Ben.
And you looked that up, Keith, and you
I'm
found
not
that.
even gonna look that up.
Nah.
Well, who said that? Somebody
it just-
called in and said,
yeah, it just had us stunned. It just happened. So right now that we still stunned from that pulling power.
that
on
must
the
be
right.
way back up in Mississippi somewhere.
Hey, Doc, listen here.
Yes, or a different kind
Beer
of family.
dinners.
Yeah, hillbillies.
Doc, listen.
Yeah.
But Keith just said something about it's almost like my situation.
Oh yeah,
The rabbit hole was getting ready to open,
yeah.
but we ain't
Do
gonna
not hire this dude.
To be your musician.
Right.
Hey man,
If you do, that means
listen here, man. I ain't
That's
had
your
nothing,
baby to make some other plan.
I ain't had nothing to do with that, man.
when
I
you
was
think
just
she
high.
crying because she happy, she crying because she sad.
Hey man, it ain't my fault. I just showed up and did my job, man.
I was talking to someone last night, and they were talking about how Debo took us back, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about Phyllis Hyman
Phyllis Hyman.
Mhm.
and how, you know, that song she'd hear. She said once she was cleaning and she had Phyllis Hyman on, and man, and then the song she had to turn it off. And I sit up and think about some of those songs
Yeah.
that reminded me. You know, you wish it starts off as Bet You By Golly Wow, but then it turns into Teddy's I Don't Love You Anymore. You know how quickly that can change in a heartbeat, man. So someone described romance as putting eternity in the moment. Eternity in a moment. And we think that feeling, well, I don't know if we think or we want that feeling to last forever. And then we get disappointed
Short-lived.
when we realize that it's just like you said, it's short-lived.
Yeah.
It has a biological purpose, you know, so you can make some babies.
Yeah.
And so when I remember we were having this conversation 5 years ago, and somebody said that, you know, it was lust.
But you know, I wonder
wasn't-
sometimes how is it that you could be so in love with someone, and over time you could just have a disdain for that person, just
Just
like
leave,
can't
yeah.
You get to
stand
know
the
'em.
ground they walk
Well,
on.
you know, you found them out,
Not only that,
or
but
they found you out.
the
How-
love.
I mean, it just seems like impossible, but it happens every day.
Yep, it happens every day. I think that a lot of people operate under the love umbrella with this feeling of having butterflies in your stomach and just having, just having that whatever that feeling is in the moment. And then when that feeling leaves, and then it's I really don't like this person.
Mhm.
So you're operating with the butterfly feeling like, oh, this is love. Like, oh man, I love him or her.
This is taking an eerie twist towards the couch, man.
Let's see. Carla, welcome to the program. Let's see where we're going with this. Carla, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, here come the couch.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. I didn't know I was interrupting the program. I thought I was calling someone about advertisement.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you're dialing the wrong number.
Yeah. Give us.
So
What's the?
I don't know. I don't call out there.
well, I'm trying. I need some info because I'm trying to do a Salvation Army reunion.
Okay.
Salvation Army reunion. Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna put you on hold.
Yeah, and Jermaine will get your information. We'll have one of our sales execs reach out to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, hold the line, please.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Keith. Good morning, Debo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Red. I agree with Debo, Keith. This is Patrick. My wife's been passed away for 15 years, and I still miss her. I'm still in love with her. So I'm like, Debo, how can you love somebody and all of a sudden just don't love them no more? I mean, I understand you, Keith, but I'm like, Debo.
What you mean you understand me?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with that one.
Like Debo said, how come all of a sudden you love somebody? I mean, you can fall in love, but like you said, you figure them out one day, but then all of a sudden, how can you all of a sudden have that disdain and just hate that person like that all of a sudden?
I think two things can happen, Patrick. That love can mature, right, and turn into a familiar love. It can manifest itself in such a way where the love changes in terms of the feeling, but the depth of concern that you have for that person increases. But then if we argue that I'm gonna love that person, the opposite is also there where, I could stop loving that person. I mean, that happens.
Well, I mean, and again, depending on the level that they hurt you or what have you, could really leave this bad feeling about that individual. I can't believe that you said you love me, but you did this to me. So I
now, see, that's what I'm understanding what Debo's saying. I'm like, I can't believe it. See, I understand what Debo's saying. Like, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, have a good day. I understand what you're saying, but I understand what Debo's saying. Have a good day.
All right, appreciate you, Patrick. I don't know how many of us are with our first loves.
I can't stand it.
So I mean,
how is that possible though?
How's what possible?
For the simple fact
If
that
I fall in love with you, I can fall out of love with you.
Yeah,
Well,
but
and
not
that's
to
the
the point that
problem,
you
though.
can't stand them.
But that's the
Yeah.
problem, though, because a lot of us call love this butterfly feeling that we have in our
It
stomach
is.
when you meet a person,
It is.
and then when the butterflies fly away, now it's do I really even like this person? So you go from loving a person, you think you love a person, to do I even like this person?
And what erotic love does is it suspends a certain level of good judgment. Again, there's a biological design for that. That's how we procreate. As human beings, though, what we're supposed to be able to do is manage our feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's part of how do we manage those feelings, and our feelings change.
Yeah,
I mean that idea, and it is a great notion that I'm gonna love you forever. Maybe.
see, but this is the thing that with me, Keith, and I actually operate right now under this. I no longer want to fall in love because falling for me hurts. In reality,
Hurts most people.
Yeah, falling hurts. I don't want to hit the ground. For me, I want to grow in love because if you grow in love,
it feels good.
because if you grow in love, there's roots to that love. So The roots is in the ground. It grows in the
boy
ground.
That boy good.
Hey man, listen here, man. Listen here, Doc. I feel this thing on this morning.
Did you use that one already?
No, Doc, but listen.
Baby,
The roots grows in the
fall in love
ground.
with you, baby. I want to grow in love.
I want to grow in love because
we'll have
man,
roots.
look at that tree, man. Look at how many storms
And
this
we
tree
can water this
done made
love
it
every
through.
day and watch it grow.
Hey.
414.
Damn, we on the couch.
Right
I told y'all we on the damn couch.
Debo did it. We love
Don't put me on the break like that.
AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Parris.
Welcome back to Community Voice, and again, we just we ain't on the couch yet.
I don't want to fall in love.
I don't want to fall in love.
Amen.
But you know, I was telling Jermaine and Debo off air that a song that I have a theological problem with is "Falling in Love with Jesus," based on the things that Jermaine had pointed out. That usually we talk about falling in love, then do we fall out of love? And it seems to me that commitment is a beautiful song. As a matter of fact, got a chance to hear Jonathan Butler do it last year down at Harbor Fest.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, a lot of people. That's what they was waiting on. Remember, Rain? They put us inside the.
Yeah, it was
so,
hot as food.
But I think that they tell us that anytime that one chooses to embrace religion, and I can be real particular here and talk about Christianity, where it's really a sober decision. I have and I had this discussion on the air, and I've had this discussion with some of my fellow clergy, where I say that at funerals I don't do invitations. A lot of people say, "Oh man," and I said the reason why is that people are emotionally distraught, got other things going on, and you really want them to make a sober, conscious decision to embrace that religion. And I understand people say, well, it might be the only time we get them, but I'm telling you that just like we talk about falling in love, once that emotional, that moment passes, whatever they were experiencing in that moment passes also. Now, I can go home, I begin to think about it, and then I go, hey, you know what? Maybe this is, because I don't know how many grandmama's, big mama's funeral conversions we had that lasted as long as the repast. Well, the reality was that
but this is the thing, though, Keith. This is the thing. And that part is true. However, your job is just to plant the seed and walk away.
Yeah, but I got to make sure that seed is on fertile ground. And what I mean by fertile ground is that people can receive that seed, clearly understand that. So I know the whole evangelism piece becomes one of those things where, now I wish we always took an opportunity to talk about, the good news, the gospel. But for many of us, that's not our reality, and actually, the greatest promotion of the gospel is how I live my life, right? They said the greatest sermon I'll ever
your light
preach
so shine
is how I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do is, for a lot of psychological reasons, I'm assuming, emotional reasons, this is our opportunity to preach to somebody. And I'm saying everything is not, what is Paul says, all this lawful is not expedient. And what he's saying is, even though you could do it, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, that's
this is probably not. This is a place and time for it, and that is
the scripture tells us that,
right? But we forget that because now we all up in the moment, and so now this is my opportunity. And then some of the things is really amazing because some of these people ain't talked to anybody about Jesus since forever. But now certainly at the funeral and after doing so many of them, and you shouldn't say, based on what my past experience, this is what the present experience is going to be. But yeah, it's and then I have to balance this because clearly funerals are for us.
Yeah.
If I'm dead, I don't think I have a clue.
You know what? Speaking of being dead.
Oh Lord, here we go.
I just, I was thinking some of the stupid stuff that we say, like, they dead and gone. Well, are they gonna be dead and be here? Like
dead and gone.
Yeah, like why do we say stupid stuff like that? Like,
I'm gonna tell you the stupidest question.
Dead and gone.
Did you go to so
dead and still here?
No, wait. Well, here's one, Keith. Did you go to so? Yeah, I was there. How was it? What the hell?
What you mean?
Let me respond to that. I will tell you And it's unfortunate that sometimes some of the best church
that I do
you
have
is at a funeral.
I do have
is at a funeral. I you know, I
It depends on who they were.
I know, but I'm saying that you go some places and you go like, dude. I mean, I don't think I need to go to church tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, it's been that good whenever you able to come together and to be able to worship like that. But yeah, I mean, it can be. But you know, it was like Reverend Nelson was saying yesterday. It's us, and Lord, the us that we bring up in there. I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. But I'm just saying. So, getting back to you were talking about this. This thing of falling in love. Again, that's erotic love, right? Yeah. That's love that's based on erotic love is love that's reciprocal. I want it to be reciprocated. It usually isn't. You're not gonna love me as hard as I love you. You know, not in my mind anyway. Even though you are. I used to have I had a girlfriend, and I said, "I love you," and her response was, "I love you back harder." Like, oh man, wow. You making my love seem really inadequate.
Or just imagine saying "I love you" and she say "Me too."
Okay, so I take that affirmation.
Man, but that's
kind of stuff he been going through.
But how about
that ain't what I'm.
how about this one? I love
love
you, and then the person can say "I know."
Yeah, that part.
How about that?
So how do you respond to that?
No.
Are these like real life scenarios that you guys have had happen, or are these just y'all being situational?
I've heard.
I ain't talking about me, but I know a dude. I know somebody. Yeah. No, I mean, when you how do you know, or you want to believe, and there's that word, you want to believe that the person loves you. But my wife is very fond of saying that if you love me, buy me something.
But
you know, show me
that actions speak louder than words all day long.
But for some of us, it's all it is words.
Yeah,
all it is
I'm telling
words.
you what you need to hear at that moment, or you want to hear.
Yeah,
well, you know what was that song? Tell Me Pretty Lies.
Yeah,
that there are a lot of people who. And that kind of even gets back to what we were talking about. How you
Ben had a record say, you lie to me. I'd rather have it that way. Just lie to me. I'd rather have it that way. Now, I don't know the significance. I don't want nobody to lie to me, but Brooke wanted her to just lie to her.
No, tell me the truth. Tell me what it is.
You can't handle the truth.
I think I can.
You can't handle the truth.
Now, I think that love is a word that people just use so carelessly, man. Like
in that music.
Yeah, they use it in their music so carelessly. And
who's the
Music Soundtrack? Yeah, Music Soundtrack.
Love.
Yeah, love though. And so in his lyrics, he say love. So many
people use your name in vain.
Use your name in vain, which is true, because a lot of people. Okay, when you say "I love you," is it a feeling that you're supposed to
anyway?
Feel?
What is love?
And it's like, is love a feeling? Is love, because even in the Bible say love unconditional.
What did Tina say?
So what is love unconditionally? Like how do you love unconditionally?
Ain't gonna pay this light bill. They ain't gonna put no groceries on this table.
She's talking about the business part.
Ain't gonna do none of that.
I think, So I don't know, what is love.
Well, we have our experiences. You do know, it's like Patrick talking about, still missing his wife, after 15 years. There is. I had preached a message, Love Beyond the Grave, and I had talked about Jonathan's son, whose name I can never learn how to pronounce, but he was, he had physical disabilities, the whole thing. And when David had really conquered everybody, Saul's army, they wipe out. And what happens, what you're supposed to do is wipe out everybody, right? You wipe out everybody. You wipe out the seed because the seed could grow to avenge the death.
Right.
So that was a practice. And so David hears about Jonathan's son. and he sends for him, and he brings him. And he says that you have a place at my table. But not only that, he restored his ancestral land to him. The relationship that Jonathan and David had was closer than brothers. These two guys, there's a term, God, I have to look it up. There's this term we use, homo, in the beginning of it. And where, I don't know if you've had a friend. Now we talk about love. You had a friend. Y'all ride or die. I mean, I'm talking you closer to that person than you are to your blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the power of friendship. Look, we have no choice over who our siblings are, right? And so then we have to negotiate and navigate those relationships. We choose our friends. And the thing that I always appreciated about a friend is that my friend doesn't judge me. You know, my friend wants the best for me. My friend doesn't necessarily want something from me. You know, so that idea, if you truly have, and I told somebody, if you truly have a friend, count your blessings, because it really is a blessing to have a friend. That's why the person that sat down and penned the song, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." You know, because we're talking about not a brother, you know, not a father, because again, those are different kind of relationships. But when you talk about a friendship, you choose your friends.
Yeah. Well, and and that's what the scripture says too. If you want a friend, you got to show yourself friendly.
Right.
So it is choosing who you want around you and who you are showing yourself friendly to.
And like I said, I have been blessed with and Keon always just said, you don't have to modify friendship, but I've been blessed with friends.
Yeah.
And not a lot of them.
Yeah.
There are people I know, people I associate with, people I might have relationships with, either professionally or even socially.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about a friend, my buddy, just back in the day, it was pretty wild, man. And he was having issues with his then girlfriend. And they used to do a lot of fighting.
Oh boy, a lot of Ike and Tina.
Yeah, so we had an incident. He grabbed me. Here we go. I'm gonna go over here and fight for it. Yeah, it wasn't even no question.
Right.
Well, there was some questions like, dude, you know, but you know, my friendship obligates me, you know, to be there with you and to be there for you. And when you, I just did a homegoing, and to watch this young lady's friend. Yeah. I mean, and how devastated she was because of the depth of their friendship.
Yeah.
You know, and where everybody else be tripping on you, your friend don't. As a matter of fact, your friend wants to protect you, like
at all costs.
Yeah, I can talk about Jermaine,
but can't nobody else.
Can't.
Yeah.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hello again, Keith. This is Rick.
Oh, two calls. Rick, what's happening?
I just want to say that you seem to know the Bible fairly well, and I hope and pray that you learn a little Egyptian history and religion with that. But on your comment about David and what's his name?
Jonathan.
David and Jonathan. I had a friend in the U.S. military who was a grown man when I was about 8 years of age and had been raped by a white man. This man stood beside me, even though the cops were exploiting my situation in D.C. This man stood beside me from 1974 to 2007. He died, but he stood beside me. He was there if I needed him. He was a phone call away. And I thank God for that man. I'm done, brother man.
I appreciate you. Man, speaking of a friendship like that, man, I had a friend, well, I'm going to call him my brother. I mean, we didn't have the same parents, but he was close to me. His name was DeAndre Flippin. His granddad, yeah, had the church on Center, and in 19, well, he actually sung with me. He was in my group back in the day, and in '98, after we recorded a song, that next day he was killed, and I still struggle with that to this day. Now, this was 1998 then when he passed away. But I still struggle with his death because I feel like, and I was on my way to go pick him up, but I feel like if I would have got there in time, he wouldn't have been in that situation. But on the flip side, it's almost like, well, maybe if you would have got there, you would have been in a situation too. So I look at both sides of the spectrum, but it still hurts because it's the unknown of what if I would have got there in time to pick him up, he would have been with me. And I struggle with that, and it's 2025, and I still struggle with that.
My buddy Ron Banks died November 2020, and it just so happened I had called because it was election time, and normally in presidential elections, it started with Obama, and we would talk, and so I was going to call. I called him to talk about, hey man, we're gonna next Tuesday, because it was a Saturday.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, we're gonna talk. Yeah. Well, we ended up having this conversation, and I told, and it drives my wife nuts. I said, if I'm having this deep conversation, I'm in the car, I'm gonna just stay in the car and drive.
Right.
Because I don't want to.
Right.
Say, I'm gonna call you back.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah.
And so I ended up at Camp Wickham. That's how long we talked. And we just, and I didn't know that was going to be my last conversation with him. And so I thank God that I did have that opportunity. Yeah. Where you get a chance to, and because of COVID, I couldn't even get to the funeral. It was so again, because here's our backstory. When I got to Mount St. Mary's, I had transferred from American Baptist to Mount St. Mary's. A couple of things had happened. One, I was receiving Social Security. So you need to let them know where you're going to school, because then you get Social Security until 22 or 21, 4 years of college, basically. Okay. Then there was a problem with my financial aid. Two, they accepted me at Mount St. Mary's 3 weeks before school started. Mount St. Mary's was everybody lived on campus, which meant that housing was a premium. Yeah. Freshmen were like 2-3 in a room. Wow. Okay, that's just how dealing with getting the students in. I get to Emmitsburg, Maryland, flew into Baltimore, get to Emmitsburg, looking for a cab. Well, why am I looking for a cab in this town that only has one stoplight? So they called the school, because here I am, this 6'2" young black man with this big afro in the middle of Emmitsburg, and there was only one other black dude that lived there, and I don't think he lived there. I think he wasn't even in Emmitsburg. So they called the school. George Gellis, who was the dean of students, sends a pinky out and to pick me up. Wow. Now people say, what's a pinky? Pinky was short for Pinkerton Security. Oh, so they were called pinkies. Matter of fact, when you got on the campus, they used to have something called the Pinky Shack, right? That's where the security folks were. Thank you, sir. So I get to school. I have no financial aid. I have no Social Security. I have no place to stay. Oh, my God. All right. So they get ready to send me back to Milwaukee. I went out there on a one-way plane ticket, right? $90 in my pocket. That's it. Yeah. So when I get there, George Gellis takes me to this guy, Danny Sennett. He was president of the student body. And he took me to Mike Casey. He was the RA. Mike Casey, I could stay in his room that night because he didn't have to have a roommate. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So they said, well, you know what? Ron Banks is president of the Black Student Union. Let's take him because I'm a black student, right? Take me to Ron Banks. So Ron Banks is there, and there's a couple of freshmen that were there talking to Ron Banks. And so Ron Banks is short, dark-skinned brother
Mm.
from Pennsylvania, different accent. I'm from the Midwest.
Mm.
So he come up and they introduced me to Ron Banks. He's talking fast, this accent I'd never heard before. I'm thinking to myself, why are you taking me to this African?
Right.
He barely in the country. Why are you taking me to this African? So Ron, and we just hit it off, right? And so we said, well, we'll see. So I knew. So I stayed in Mike Casey's room, and I'm telling you, I literally slept in my clothes because I know tomorrow morning they're taking me to BWI, and I'm flying back to Milwaukee.
Right.
So I'm in the room, and every time I heard somebody walk down the hall, they're coming to get me. I got no sleep that night. Every time I heard somebody in the hall, they're coming to get me. They're coming to get me. So I get up that morning. First person to grab me was Ron Banks. He said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's get this financial aid straight, because I told him the whole story.
Right.
And I said, okay, man. So we had breakfast, and he takes me to Mr. Joe Zanella. He's the financial aid director. And you know what? I don't know how we did it then with no computers.
Yikes.
Think about that just for a moment.
Yeah.
So I get in, and they said, well, first of all, where are you going to live? We got freshmen 3 in a room. We have no room for you. Mike Casey said, that's okay. Little fella could stay with me.
Wow.
So Mike Casey is this Irish guy from Long Island, big dude. He was there that semester because they had to do a student teacher, right? And so Mike Casey took me in.
Wow.
No question. Mike Casey would give me money to go to the snack bar.
Yeah.
And then Mike Casey's uncle died, and Mike Casey gets all this money. I mean, so every day I'm eating, he let me drive his car. Wow. And unbeknownst to him, I didn't even have a license. Let me drive his car. But Ron Banks, he takes me to Mr. Zanella. I always tell the story, and I always exaggerate the story. Take me to Mr. Zanella. Say, yeah, Keith, man, we're going to get this handled. Like, thanks, man. Because he could tell I'm like anxious. I don't want to go home, and so we sit outside Mrs. Zanella's office. Mrs. Zanella come out. Ron goes, Joe, this is Keith. And then Ron left. I'm going, dude, where you going? Come to find out what was going on with the financial aid was I had a student loan I had applied for. And because they trying to catch up with where I'm going to school, going from American Baptist to Mount St. Mary's, so now they're calling, find out the financial aid. We get with Social Security, they figure it out. That's a crazy story. They sent a lump sum check, and I was getting Social Security when I was grown. My mom was still getting that check. So they figure out. So they call, and they said, well, the reason why his financial aid didn't go through is because of equity. His mother has a house worth $250,000. What? Same react. What? No, she don't. 250,000. I had not did the comma.
Oh, when
and
you filled out the paperwork.
Yeah. So it should have been 25,000.
Right.
Yeah, not 200. So once they figured that out, got that straight. But then Ron Banks would take me home, like on the weekends. Wow. And Ron grew up a Mennonite, which was really not. Yeah, grew up a Mennonite. What happened was they lived in the projects across the street from a Mennonite church. Their mama wanted them to go to church. So they went to the Mennonite church when they were kids. They had a revival in York, and this lady came through. Ron's mom got saved.
Wow.
Ron got saved, right?
Wow.
And so Mennonites are, it's a German sect. They're kind of out of the Anabaptist movement. The Mennonites are more progressive than the Amish, but they kind of have the same German roots. And in fact, my professor, Dr. Kinesh, was a not that anybody want to hear that story, but I'm just saying
No,
how
that
that
was good.
friendship developed,
Yeah.
and it was like I don't know, can you guys drive a stick?
I used to know how I ain't drove with it. So
You know, I learned how to drive a stick. Ron Thanks, because he ran track, so he'd be going on the weekends. He said, "Hey, Keith, if you want my car, I'll let you use my car." No, him, I didn't have a license. I'll let you use my car. He said, "But it's a stick. You have to learn how to drive." So Mount St. Mary's Mount is just that hill. So every time I roll up the hill, drive up,
yeah,
roll back. And I said, "Man, I don't want to do this no more." Ron knew how to motivate. He said, "You want dinner? Drive." He said, "Because I ain't driving." He said, "So if you want dinner, you get this car up the hill." One thing that was important to me, dinner at 19, dinner. You better believe it. You're listening to Community Voice. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
You're inside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice, and we're just talking. One of those programs, just talking. Yeah, so I thank God for Ron Banks, man. I mean, he just and he became a Church of God in Christ pastor, and I'm his Newport smoking, alcohol drinking Baptist, and he just it didn't matter because friendship, man, goes beyond some of the surface stuff that people have, and I appreciate him listening to my crazy theological musings, and I know he'd be going like, Keith is crazy, but to have that where you could do that sounding board, and I think and I thank my mom for this, that my life experience has exposed me to different thoughts, some similar to mine, some different than mine, and I learned how to respect that. It's bigger than our religion, it's bigger than our frat, it's bigger than our sorority. That this connection that we have with each other as human beings, and when you're able to be connected with somebody on an intimate level like that, I think like I tell people, unless you've had a friendship that's deep, you will never understand Oprah and Gail. You'll never understand that level of relationship, and people hate on that relationship, but you don't and it's strange how people, how they, if you sit up and you think about friends and how you even got them and how you met, like if you were kids, y'all used to fight each other, right? And then y'all became dogs. I mean, it so to kind of describe circumstances, similarities a lot of times in terms of interest.
At a certain point in your life.
Yep.
It's I clearly understand what you're saying. It's that word friend is something that I don't just throw around, because everybody's not my friend.
Right.
I don't have a lot of close friends anyway. I got some acquaintances and things of that nature, but yeah, to be labeled a friend for me, we've been through something together.
Yeah. And my general nature is that I'm guarded already. Yeah. And I kind of operate from this premise that you're the devil until you prove otherwise. Yeah. And so, if not that it's that cool to be close to me, that's not the argument that I'm making.
No, but you should.
It's the one that I'm making, though.
No, but no,
it is.
And I feel him, because I'm the same way. Because you should look at yourself as, even though you're not conceited, but I am somebody, and I am somebody special to be
everybody
around.
Don't have good intentions.
Yeah, that part, man. So yeah,
for you
should,
and especially not that I got a lot of shine, but if you got a little shine on your life, when you look at the people who are around, you would hear about how, well, look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is surrounded by enablers, right? Nobody's going to push back on him because they're benefiting from being in that little sphere of power. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm the man. And no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter how much pain, people ask, well, this whole thing of principles in politics and why don't these elected officials have principles? Well, because part of it is you being an elected official was your getting in power, being near power. And so you don't want to lose that. And sometimes for some of us, that will trump principles. That's why I tell people when I look at Jesus in the wilderness experience and what happens once he gets out of that wilderness experience and he's tempted with prosperity, power, notoriety, those things are toxic. I mean, those things are attractive, man. I mean, it means a lot when you walk into a space, you walk into a spot, and they give you the best seat in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who ain't gonna take it?
Who ain't gonna take it? You're right.
You know, I asked the question after 8 years, Barack and Michelle, after 8 years, everybody doing everything for you. How do you make that adjustment now where, you know, you don't get that same level? Certainly you don't get the same Secret Service detail. You know what I mean? So those things can be very attractive. You know, that's why people like to know celebrities. You know, that their sense of proximity to that, you know, the people that name drop, that they know such and such, and you know, I hung out with such and such, and man, you know.
But you know what, Keith? That is true, because even with name dropping, just the power behind being connected. And I'm gonna use an example. In my clubbing days, you know, we used to show up to the club late, purposely, because we didn't want to be there all night long. But we would show up to the club and then line to be long. I mean, like around the building. But if a certain person is having a party, let's just say Rico Love is having a party, and since we are connected to Rico Love, we can walk up to the security and say, "Hey, we're here with Rico Love, that we're part of his entourage." So all these other people that's standing over here waiting to get in line, they pull us right around and let us right in. So it's the power of being connected that you can use, and you know, and that's that power of that friendship.
We went to see Aretha Franklin, and you know, because Milwaukee was part of her dad's circuit. She knew, especially people who, if their daddies were preachers, grandfathers preachers, and she looked out in the audience, and she saw this woman that she remembered from, you know, when her dad would come to Milwaukee, and she called the woman's name, and she said, "I want you to come up. I want to see you after the show." So there's this saying out there: it's not who you know, but who knows you.
Who knows you?
And so I got to tell, like, thinking that I'm a baller, right? So Stevie Wonder had come last November. You know, he's doing that whole political thing, and so he did the concert down at Five Serve, and really we had some great seats. Even great. So we're on the floor, man.
Wow.
You come through like with the BMO to get on the floor. We on the floor, right? So me and Rhonda walk in, and Ralph Holman and his wife is sitting there. I'm a baller now, so you know I keep getting that because the usher said, come with me, right?"
Yeah.
So hey, what's up, man? You know, like look superstar.
Yeah.
You know, me and Rhonda, we walking like hard. You know, we major ballers. Take us down. So we must have been about 5 rows
from the stage.
No, 5 rows from Ralph. Ralph was. The usher come in with the people who she put us in the wrong seats.
Oh no. Oh no.
So now we had to get up and walk back looking all humble and dejected. We were at and it just happened that way. We were in the same row as Ralph and his wife. I said, "Yeah, Ralph," but I thought I was balling, man. You know, when the usher you pass folks, you know.
So you look at
hey, what's up? What's up? No, man, I gotta get up front, man. VIP. I gotta get. And it was just like, no. We made a mistake, sir. You're not VIP.
Come back here.
You need to come back here.
Yeah. Hey, but it ain't nothing like that walk of shame, though.
Oh man, that walk of shame. Because before that, I was walking like, you know, like, oh man,
I am somebody.
And people going like, "Who's that?
Right?
Who's that?
All the time.
Who's that?" It was like, I was walking like I was who that.
Yeah.
And man, then they was going, "Who that?
Right.
Who that? Gotta go back. Who that?
Go back to their seat.
Go back to his real seat."
Yeah, man.
Oh man, and I felt so bad for Rhonda because, you know, it's kind of going like, because Rhonda don't get into stuff like, and I, you know, for me, you know, they always kid me about the press pass, right? But I was telling them, I said, this press pass, man. when Kamala Harris was here, that she did her first rally was done out in West Dallas. I don't know if everybody remember that when she had.
I remember that,
right?
Yeah.
So we were out, and I love Michelle. So Michelle, I think Michelle and Lakeisha, they got ushered in. You know, and I'm waving at her, and she's like, hey.
I kept going. Now you act like you don't know me, huh?
Oh, man. And then, but because I had my press pass on, they said, oh, come with me, sir. And put me in the pen, the press pen.
Oh, the press pen, yeah.
Yeah. So then people tried to figure out
who's that?
Who's that? Who's that young lady who I've had on when I first started the program, Miss Kanita Hitman of Katira. She saw me, she texted me. She said, "Oh, you're a major baller, huh?"
You made it to the pit, huh?
Made it to the pit, yeah. I was. So yeah, and I isn't it James who talks about how when an important person comes in, a person with power or position, we give them the best seat in the house. He's talking about in the worship, in the worship space.
Yeah.
He was saying, but that's not the person who should have the best seat. Yeah. It should be the least among us.
Should be the least.
Who has the best seat.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking to somebody one day. I'm a creature of habit. I'm a Cancer. And so I always timed when I got to church. And I timed it in such a point where I could get out there. And I had a seat that I had been sitting in. That was the seat that I was sitting in. And so one Sunday, the church's parking lot's packed. What's going on? So I come up the back way. Metropolitan is back where you come up into the piano loft. That's the pulpit, the kind of where people sit. Yeah. And so I come in, and I get through the door. I look over there.
Somebody sitting in your seat.
Is Jesse Jackson sitting in my seat?
Oh man! Wow.
Now part of me is going to go over there like, this is my seat, right?
Yeah.
And so the story was somebody said that if I was sitting on the front row and Oprah came in, I wouldn't give up my seat.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I think you are going to give up that seat.
You ain't gonna have no choice.
Right. I think we're going to have security come in and make sure you give up that seat. Yeah, I mean, that's just like, is Obama sitting in my seat? Oh. And you go and whisper something in his ear like, hey, dude, you in the seat.
Player,
yeah, I think, yeah.
Let me get that up out you.
I know you're Obama and all, but
man,
let me get that up out you.
That's mine, man.
You're sitting in my seat, player.
Let me get that up out you.
Jesse Jackson sitting in my seat. What, man? What's wrong with you? Yeah, but that is my inflated sense of importance, and I can throw this out here. It's almost like people pay for those seats.
Yeah.
Come into church late and have somebody sitting in the seat you normally sitting in.
Yeah, it's a feeling of entitlement. Like, you knew I was coming, so there's no reason that no, you know I'm coming.
It's a lot of folks.
What if I'm just
church.
A guest?
Yeah.
What if I'm just? I didn't know you weren't there.
But
that's why the usher is supposed to take you to those unpredetermined seats.
Nah, man.
Oh yeah,
because it ain't no reserve sign on the seats.
I tell you what.
Okay.
Now tell me.
Is that right?
Tell me when you see this, Keith.
No.
Tell me when you see this. Okay, you got a roster up there, right? You got 4-5 clergy in the building, but you know that one seat belongs to the pastor. Who you ever seen sitting there?
I've seen some ignorant people do that.
Yeah, the one that's right either in the middle or off to the side. The big chair.
The big chair.
The big chair. I ain't never seen that.
The only time I ever, maybe some other people could have sat in that big chair. Remember the big chair Daniels had?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The only person I ever saw sit in that big chair was Norquist.
I know.
I saw. Person I've ever seen.
I saw Bishop Williams sitting in that chair.
Well, he was his godfather.
Yeah. He got. But everybody ain't sitting up in that chair.
Yeah.
It.
That's true. That's true.
You know that in the mother's board.
I'm just getting ready to respond. I'm getting ready to respond to Jermaine. So going over there and sit on the west side of Christian Faith Fellowship and see how long you sitting over there
You ain't gonna sit
in those
over
first 3-4 rows.
You ain't gonna get there for long. Man, what?
Even when I go to, and this is, I know we gotta
I
go.
might get there.
I know we gotta go, but
yeah, but they say he know better.
Even when I go back to Metropolitan, told me to sit in the big chair. I don't sit in the big chair. Yeah. And it's interesting because Reverend Wanzo never sat in that big chair. Wow. He never, and I think it's out of respect for Dr. Kelly.
Yeah.
And so he never sat in that big chair. I mean, every now and then he would, but on Sundays he was in a different chair. And I don't sit in the chair. I don't sit in the chair. Interesting program.
All over the place. All over the place. Hit on the couch a little bit. Yeah. You know, you are. You nested it up.
When you grow in love, it's roots and then that storm comes. Tree by storm, but just like that tree, it's planted by the water. I shall not be. Sheba.
Won't he? I was disappointed with Rudy Creek.
Hey, somebody got on the chat. Damn Usher. I don't worship you. Yeah. Hey, listen, man.
I appreciate you. Hey, good Lord, really appreciate that.
Hey, man. I don't know what they're hitting at. Maybe I missed something. They said the same way Keith uses his press pass.
Oh, you're talking about
gaining access.
Yeah, man. When I got at the room out of Granville, that's how you don't start a lot. Like,
damn. Oh, come right on to it.
Yeah. Hey, man. Good luck with a quick ride. So, talk about you all this always.